What's up, anime lovers? Today I've got a list of top 10 anime where the main character is highly skilled and fun to watch. To some of you, the idea of an overpowered protagonist may seem appealing and probably your cup of tea. In contrast, others tend to think that these anime lack thrill to them since the protagonist doesn't have much problem overcoming the obstacles ahead on his journey, making the whole point of the show obsolete. However, today the shows on this list are going to be amazing, regardless of your opinion on these kinds of shows. You can trust me on that. But before we get into the list, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to Anime Town. One more small disclaimer, this list by no means is in any particular order, so without further ado, let's get right into it.
完全に囲まれましたね。襲ってきますよ。
よし、中は任せた。やれ、モブ。
Coming up first on our list shouldn't surprise anyone because this anime is known for having developed the main character very well with great fights and a touch of slice of life elements. I am of course talking about Mob Psycho 100. Mob Psycho 100 has a world where many spiritually superior beings known as evil spirits exist. Thankfully, alongside them, humans known as Aspers also exist with special powers with which they can exorcise the evil spirits. The protagonist, of course, is an Asper so cute he wouldn't hurt a fly. However, he possesses a power most Aspers would envy. In most of the battles throughout the show, the difficulty our protagonist faces isn't that his skills won't be enough. Instead, will his power go berserk and hurt anyone around him is a significant concern. There is a secure link between the power Mob possesses and his emotion. If he gets too enraged, he will lose control of his powers, becoming a threat to everyone around him, including his friends and loved ones.
クエストに答えて出てきたよ。これが僕の感情だ。
The next anime on our list is Jing, which translates to Jing, the King of Bandits.
王様の王、つまり泥棒のキングってことさ。輝く者は星でも盗めるっていう伝説の泥棒さ。
He's only a teenager and is an overpowered thief who is willing to steal something, no matter how well guarded it is. Throughout his journey, he visits new cities in search of new targets to rob. He has a pet named Kerr, who sits on his shoulders all the time. However, he's not for show as the bird can fire green cannons known as the Kerr Blast. Jing also has a knife under his sleeves with which he is very skilled with, so even though he likes to avoid enough from battle, that doesn't mean he can't handle them. Jing is such a fun character to watch as he comes up with new and creative ways to infiltrate his target. Every new city he visits in this fantasy world is also visually appealing, making this anime a very entertaining watch.
巨大的暗杀计划，这个能看破我绝对隐身的怪物，绝不能留！这是一个初见伤，怎么会有如此逆天的灵力？
The next anime in our list has a gifted protagonist with extreme spiritual capability but doesn't want to show it because he wants to live a life just like anyone else. I am of course talking about the anime Daily Life of Immortal King. In this world, all human beings have spiritual power. Some are more gifted than others, and the protagonist who goes by the name Wang Ling suddenly hits the genetic jackpot. By the age of 10 years, he could defeat a monster some of the professional magic users couldn't overcome. However, this vast power had always been a curse in disguise, as he couldn't control it very well whenever someone tried to approach him. He would not knowingly send them flying with a blast or put the whole house on fire. Throughout the series, his goal is to learn how to control his powers rather than getting more durable. Next up on our list is an anime if you watched, you would agree that it deserves a spot on the list, whereas if you haven't, you may find the entire plot of the show quite absurd. I am of course talking about the anime Assassination Classroom. A mighty being destroys most of the moon and threatens to do the same to Earth by the end of the year if his class, which he teaches, doesn't kill him first. The only problem is that this teacher is so powerful that no one could kill him regardless of how many tricks they use against him. They have no choice but to take his class and improve their abilities. Now is the time when you're probably wondering why anyone would want to teach a class if he ultimately has decided to destroy the world. It may sound absurd at first thought, but if you think about it, it's entirely psychological. If someone is threatening to destroy the world, you would have your survival instinct kick in and do everything to prevent it.
中村さん、暗殺は勉強の妨げにならない時にと言ったはずです。
すみません。
The next anime on our list is Helsing Ultimate. It follows the story of an extremely overpowered protagonist known as Alucard, who is a vampire and has sworn loyalty to the Helsing family because he was defeated by one of the ancestors. This guy is the very definition of overpowered, not because of just how powerful he is, but because of how he stands against his opponents. You can see this guy smile as he gets closer and closer to his prey. Even when he's losing a fight, he smiles and laughs because he recovers from any injury no matter how bad they are. The fact that he is overpowered does make the fight a bit less thrilling. Still, the fightings are unique because they include guns with a flavor of close-range hand-to-hand combat, so we highly recommend you to check the show out.
お前はただ自分の技を試したいだけだろ。その無邪気な笑顔見りゃわかるぜ。
Next up on our list is an anime that we're gonna get some hate for, because it's none other than the one and only One Punch. Please bear with me, I have a good reason to include this anime. Let's start with the plot. The character Saitama is an unemployed person who decides to become a superhero after defeating a villain one day. He trains so much that one day he becomes powerful enough to not worry about any villains because he could finish off any enemy with one punch regardless of how strong they are. The reason One Punch Man gets hate is that he is guaranteed to win the fight, but he wins it so easily that you wouldn't even consider most of the fights as, fights. It may seem counterintuitive, but this is exactly why One Punch Man deserves a spot in this list. On the surface, it seems like Saitama is having the easiest life of all time, but that in reality is his curse. He's bored with his life because there is no struggle life can offer him, and this boredom is ironically his greatest struggle. Up next on our list is Kangana. In the world of Kangana, business owners hire gladiators to fight in hand-to-hand combat. The business owner whose gladiator wins the match makes a profit in millions, whereas the loser tends to suffer in the same amount. The main character Oma Tokita is heavily overpowered but is not shown to be the strongest right off the bat, even though he has a well-built physique. The gladiators he usually stands against are much larger. However, throughout the series, it is revealed time and time again that Oma is not only a very cunning person who can get himself out of a pinch, but also has a huge amount of power at his disposal that he doesn't like to show, and only uses it as a last resort. The fact that he doesn't reveal his powers adds a flavor of mystery to this protagonist, which makes both him and the series a treat to watch.
我が名はアスタロト。参りましょう、若君。サタン様がお待ちかねで。
How would you feel if you woke up one day and only to realize that you're no ordinary human being and are a demon? And to add fuel to the fire, you're the son of Satan himself. We don't know how you'd feel, but Rin Okumura from Blue Exorcist certainly didn't like the news. All his life, he had been raised by Father Shiro, who, despite knowing that the boy is the son of Satan, raised him as his son. Despite being the Satan's son, Rin takes an oath to defeat Satan by becoming an exorcist and following in the footsteps of Father Shu. Even though he aims to become an exorcist, since he's the son of Satan himself, he also possesses demon powers. A sword named Kuriakara restrains these powers of his, but if it is drawn out of its sheath, Rin can use his skills since they get unleashed. Satan is the most powerful demon, so when Rin draws his sword, he becomes pretty much unstoppable for most enemies.
じゃあ俺と友達にならないか？
なんだと？
嫌ならいいんだけど。
バカ！誰も嫌だと言っておらぬだろうが、考えてやってもいいんだからね。
ツンデレか。
Next, we have an anime with the title of having the weirdest name an anime can have on this list. I'm talking about the anime The Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, or Tensei Shitara Slime. As you've probably guessed from the name, this anime is about a man who dies and is reincarnated in a fantasy world as a slime. A very powerful slime. This slime has been granted a tremendous amount of powers. The primary ability that made him such a deadly foe was his ability to mimic the strength, skill, and appearance of anyone he faces. After getting into this world, he now sets on a journey to find new purpose and prove to everyone his worth with the new powers he has been bestowed upon. This anime is a pretty decent mixture of fights and comedy that we think that anyone should watch. In the world of chrome-shelled Regios, the best possible way humanity sought to survive was to make substantial mobile cities named Regios that would always be moving to avoid contact with any filth monsters. The humans of this world are also different from you and me because they possess internal K energy. If you train yourself well enough, you can use K for more and more destructive purposes. The protagonist comes from a Regios that had a philosophy of to kill or be killed, forcing him into many battles with real monsters even as a kid. The protagonist survived and became extremely overpowered. So when he decided to move to a new Regios and offered his services as a soldier to fight the aliens, he discovered his abilities are marginally better than his peers of the same age. The mystery element of this character makes the anime itself an enjoyable watch. That concludes our list for top 10 anime with Overpowered MC. Do you agree with our list? If you don't, why don't you leave your list down below? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button and don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more videos like this one. See ya till the next video.